Hey people, Five Faces here. Today we're going to be doing something completely different. Usually I'm casting high-level, high-tier replays. This time around we're going back to the roots in every literal sense of the word. This is going to be a newcomer cast between two players whom certainly no one has ever heard of, and one of the players, or one of the spectators, even because the names don't match, has sent me 3 replays to analyze and go over. And we're doing this as sort of an educational commentary this time around. So we're not critiquing high-level plays. Rather than that, we're looking at the basics. We're looking at where those plays are going right, where they're going wrong, and what we can learn, what lessons there are to learn for newcomers to OpenRA. As rare as those types of persons may be, because OpenRA right now doesn't have the largest community on the planet, but certainly a dedicated one. Alright. First off, let's go over the factions. We've got CommanderSick as the Germans, and we've got FloraFaunaFungi, so basically the entire animal and plant dominion. Playing respectively, so it's Sick and 808 man or Bob man, I don't know. Hard to call. Righty. So both are going for a solid placement of their refineries. We're right now going to be covering some of the basics that most of the viewers know, but going to be interesting for newcomers. Right, so this is something that shouldn't be done. There is a pillbox placed for no discernible reason at all. There was no pressure onto any of the players, no signs that anybody would be rushing. What you can do in OpenRA, since things in your build queue soak up your money, but they are cancelable, you can get a full refund if you want. You can just hold if you want to feel safe, if you think that your opponent may rush you, you can hold a pillbox, and if there is a grenadier rush or something like that showing up at your doorsteps, you deploy it right in the face of the enemy infantry or whatever is coming your way, and then you get some use out of that. However, if you place your pillbox randomly, you've wasted 600 credits into something that does absolutely nothing at all. And likewise with the camo pillbox, he's now built 2 defenses that's 1400 credits sitting somewhere and not doing anything at all. You should invest that into early econ. One more thing, he's sending out rocket soldiers, naked rockets. So rockets are very expensive. This is again another 1200, and those rocket soldiers can be killed by a single rifleman. Oh god, are we going to be seeing this? I hope not. So if you want to send out scouts, you send out a scouting unit, maybe a rifle. Rifles cost 100. They're expendable. They don't do anything too crazy, and they kill infantry. And what's the earliest threat that can come out of any player's court of the field, half of the field? Yes, you're right. Riflemen. Until there is a chance of the opponent having a war factory, you don't send rocket soldiers out. Just not unprotected. Same here. We're seeing a double refinery start. That's okay. Double refinery gives you lots of income early on, but you ought not to spend that at pillboxes. You should be spending that into combat units that get you map control, because what's important in RTS and real-time strategy games? Map control, controlling the economy, getting ahead by any means necessary. So those players are playing the way you would play against an AI, because they're predictable. You know that they're going to be coming. It's like a tower defense. You know that they're going to be coming at some point in the game, and they are going to be coming over with a little detachment, and they're going to run into your defensive lines that you have fortified, and then you've killed them, and then all is good. But you're playing against a human opponent, and a human opponent can choose just not to do that. Also, this has already found way more success than it should have. Those 4 rocket soldiers should have been killed ages ago. Also, they haven't done anything. And now there's a pillbox. There's also rifle infantry. Interesting, they're playing with different settings. They're playing with bounties off. Usually pro players or top tier players are playing with bounties on. Reason for that being is that it incentivizes and encourages early engagements, which is usually a good thing, both for player versus player, like the feel that players get from the game, because it makes the early game less stale, and also it serves as a comeback mechanic. If you get a good defense against an enemy wave, you get lots of cash bounties, and you're incentivized to get some snipes. Also, I've seen haven't commented on that just yet, but I've seen crate planes, badgers, dropping random crates on the map that is usually disabled in high tier plays because it adds so much randomness. But it is a nice mechanic to have in a low tier match. Okay, we're seeing the first push out from Mr. FloraFaunaFungi with a sizable and decently versatile army and one tank. So a light tank is usually not the best frontliner because they die very fast. But it does have enough infantry to support that. Infantry are your core combat unit in OpenRA. They do the most damage for the cost. And they're very, very cost efficient. They also die very fast, but that's where you basically use your tanks as frontliners. OpenRA is basically the inverse of pretty much any other RTS. Tanks are not damage dealers. They can kill enemy armor in reasonable time, not light tanks. Light tanks can't kill shit. But mediums and heavies, they can kill ore trucks. They can you use them to snipe heavy armor targets or to tank. Also, CommanderSick is committing a grave mistake here. It's just making a Maginot line. You know why the Maginot line historically worked? Because the French knew that the Germans would advance to this position. Why would FloraFaunaFungi go anywhere near this Maginot line if he ever scouts it? All he has to do is sit back in the middle, grab the gem mine, and that's something I want to get into as well. Econ advantage. Grab an econ advantage, get more income and get more tech, and thus build artilleries. And with the artilleries, you can easily kill those turrets and pillboxes without losing a single unit. And then all those credits are going to be wasted, not having done anything at all. Alright, so econ advantage, that's the next point here. This is a gem mine. They give you a lot of income if you take them early on. This is a map that, for this very reason, hasn't been played for a long time. I also want to go into this. It is Pit Fight, created by Kazoo, who used to be a very prolific and active member of the community for years. He has kind of fallen off the radar apparently, which is sad, but the reality of video games, that sometimes people just lose time /and/or interest in them. So FloraFaunaFungi is building more light tanks. Now transitioning over to medium tanks. He's got a sizable infantry army, so that's not too bad. Yeah, this expansion from CommanderSick is confusing me because it doesn't serve a purpose. He can't really build a refinery efficiently here. He can't connect with his reinforcements easily, and he doesn't get to take the most juicy economy target in the game, which would be the gem mine. So as a result, he's going to be forced back with some losses. Also, we're not seeing attack move here, by the way. Always in OpenRA, always attack move. Oh, crate. Yeah, gets $1,000 from the crate at least. That helps. Oh god, building a silo. That is one of the cardinal sins of OpenRA. If you've got so much cash on hand that you're building a silo, you fucked up. Your strategic reserves are not better in a silo. You're not getting interest. Your strategic reserves are best spent building shit. Build units, build infantry, build more tech, build more real estate, build more harvesters. It is a game of scale. This is not like Warcraft 3, where you have upkeep to pay if you're building too much. This is a game where mass, or having mass, is being rewarded. So it's looking very over at that point. FloraFaunaFungi does have an army, he does have an expansion, and CommanderSick does have tier 3. He's got 3 engineers for whatever reason. He's got a Maginot line and no income. So this is terrible. By the way, there's an engineer from FloraFaunaFungi that somehow snuck its way here. So yeah, really bad call thus far. Oh no. The rocket soldiers, they do nothing. Because that's one more thing in OpenRA, very specific to this game. Infantry have terrible line of sight. So you wanna enhance them with something that enhances your line of sight and support. And that can be a ranger, that can be or the ally side at least, can be a Black Hawk. and you always want to keep those around your infantry. Oh wow, there's no anti-air here. This helicopter is gonna get so much value. Next helicopter coming in, you can easily snipe those artilleries, and after that it's already game. Yep, this game is over. Oh, the Black Hawk is not doing anything, it's being a bit idle. So maybe the Maginot Line is going to hold out a little bit longer. There's now an anti-air gun, which is not going to do anything. Still a good front line for FloraFaunaFungi. Most of the tanks have been killed though. So this is the time, this would be the time for a retreat. Let's see if this is going to be happening. A retreat not going to be sounded. Watch replay to improve and learn, huh? Probably. Yeah, he also snuck another detachment of infantry into the econ lines, and CommanderSick is absolutely dismantled here. He can't do anything anymore. He built so many defenses that he really didn't gain anything from them. Badger's dropping some more. And something that FloraFaunaFungi did well is he expanded. That is a crucial concept in RTS to begin with, but OpenRA, it's very pivotal. OpenRA is very much econ based. There are games like Company of Heroes 2 where you can win with lower economy simply by microing your units better, or let's say Warcraft 3 is also one of those games. Or if you've got good hero micro, you can overcome an econ disadvantage. There are plenty of examples of games where one player has one base and the other player has two or even three bases, and the one base player, by courtesy of better heroes, demolishes the 2 or 3 base player. That is usually not the case in OpenRA, at least given equal skill levels. FloraFaunaFungi, not free of fault, that's a mouthful, because he's on low power, he built a silo, he built lots of unnecessary static defenses, but overall just played it better. Just knew what to do, and that's not criticism of CommanderSick, that is rather just trying to teach here. You know, I am still a teacher by profession. That's kind of ingrained, I feel. Also spotting the mistakes, I know. Also ingrained here. Nobody has claimed the gem mine. That is insane to me, because this is the highest value asset on the map. Controlling this gem mine basically gives you the income that two of those regular mines would give you. And just imagine if CommanderSick had expanded to the middle instead of to the right hand side to this pocket. He could have actually gotten something out of this. There's a longbow. He's gotten some tech units out. Interesting. But doesn't change the tide of battle. Helicopters are going in once more. They're waiting at the sidelines. They're just killing off the entire tech tree. That is completely unnecessary, by the way. Seeing your opponent being boxed in this hard, the best snipe would be on the ore refinery. If you manage to decrease the income of your opponent even further, they basically can't build any units anymore. And that is gonna be the GG. Also, it appears that CommanderSick doesn't know how crates work. Getting it now. The thing is, you must click on the tile of the crate. You can't click around it. You can't click so they pass over it, because it doesn't do anything. They're gonna avoid it like it's an obstacle. You must click on the tile with the crate. And that is a bit of an annoying mechanic, because it has prevented in the past one of the greatest cheese builds that was a theory crafting. That would have been a refundable meat shield, where you basically go mass supply tracks. And supply tracks are very cheap, and they also carry a crate which reimburses you for the full cost. So there would be a complete refund. So the idea is you go in with your supply trucks as tanks, and they die, but you then pick up all the crates. Reason why that isn't working is because of this exact mechanic, that you must click on every single crate manually, and that is just way too cumbersome. If they were to automatically pick it up upon crossing over the cell, that would be fine, but that's not the case. What's also not the case is that CommanderSick has any chance at staying in this game any longer. he's completely dismantled. So FloraFaunaFungi, definitely the more experienced player, did know a bit about the basics, whereas CommanderSick, definitely a newcomer, but let that not discourage you from playing and learning this game. It doesn't have that high of a learning curve. At the end of the day, what it comes down to is macro first. Get your economy up, get your expansions running before you push into the enemy, and get a solid build order. Both players have had some solid build orders-ish. GG is being called here. So one of the most important things here is build order. So you basically go power plant, barracks, a couple infantry to put some pressure out, and then you go for double refinery. With the double refinery, you then have got enough economy to pump a couple more infantry. You then go for a war factory. Then after the power plant, from the war factory, you start producing maybe 1 or 2 light vehicles for pressure. And then it's harvester time. You go up to 6, 7 harvesters. Then you build a service depot. Then you build an expansion, and then you start just cranking out mass tanks. And with your expansion, you litter the map while exerting pressure onto the opposition. And that nets you map control. It nets you a good army. It nets you good econ flow. And from there, you can branch out. You can then, once you've got your expansion set up with econ, mind you, not just the base itself, you also must deploy an MCV. Not only an MCV, but on an ore refinery as well. Once that's done, start working either on your production capabilities by building mass barracks so you can get the max decrease in build time, or you start branching out into tech. You start getting a radar dome and start building helicopters or planes, and then you also go into artilleries or V2s respectively. Or you could tier 3 rush. Even sometimes you could also go mass expansion, just go for more expansions. You could also go for mass mechanized play by building more war factories, but you need good econ setup for that. And just make sure to always pressure your opponent and have more economy than them, either by sniping their harvesters, their refineries, their production capabilities, crippling them, or by simply taking more expansions and holding on to them. Always try scouting. Rifles are very cheap, not expensive at OpenRA at all, and they give you map control. Send them everywhere across the map. Know where your opponent is and where he isn't. And that way, you will gain some information. You will be able to discern where you can build, where you can expand. And that's kind of just what FloraFaunaFungi did. He played it very safe, got his expansion out, then built an army. And from there, he just simply won because the other player, CommanderSick, just had no expansion, he had no economy, and as a result, he had no army. So, what do we learn from this? Expand on time and utilize your infantry correctly. Also, build infantry. They're the best bang for your buck, the best units in the game. Stat-wise, are riflemen and rocket soldiers. Build more of them and don't send your rockets in without any protection, because they definitely do need a meat shield to function. Alright, with that out of the way, thank you for watching this educational cast. It's probably going to be not that interesting for the core audience, but maybe it's going to attract some newcomers. So in that case, welcome. There's a backlog of around 500 casts that you may be watching right now. So have fun, go wild. Other than that, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. 5 aces out. Also, Combined Arms community. I want to get a Combined Arms cast done. Send me replays, please. I want to cast your game. I want to give it some exposure, but I need replays. I can't create them myself. I can't forge them. So please send me some good ones. With that, have a good one. 5 aces out.